Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to your Lunch Break Live. My name is Ivana Harinkyu if you're new here, and if you're not, thank you for coming back. Today is Thursday, July the 21st, and today I'm joined by Birmingham City Councilor Carol Clarke. Now, Councilor Carol Clarke, along with Councilor Daryl O'Quinn, brought a resolution to the Birmingham City Council on Tuesday in support of Ukraine and in support of Birmingham's sister city, Venezia, Ukraine. Now, this resolution did pass. It is essentially a position that the city is taking supporting again Ukraine and Venezia. So counselor, this is something that I know we've been talking about now for months, the invasion of Ukraine and the war that is happening in Ukraine. And we have seen an outpouring of support across the US and from Birmingham most recently with the World Games for Ukrainian athletes and people of the country. So tell me a little bit more about this resolution and why you and your colleague Mr. O'Quinn thought that it was appropriate to bring before the council.
Well, we were requested to do so by Scotty Colson, who is an honorary consul general to Ukraine. He's a former colleague of mine at the city. I worked with Scotty for many years, and he really shepherded the sister cities relationship. He was responsible for that, Birmingham's relationship with all of our sister cities across the world. And I think he had a special affinity and a longstanding relationship. He was a longstanding involvement in our sister city relationship with Ukraine. And it just, like you said, from the opening ceremony, as that athletic delegation, came across the field, I think all Birminghamians and our visitors from around the world just felt something really triumphant in there just being here. And so it was a really special moment. If you were there in the stadium at that moment, we all felt something triumphant just from their being here. And so while they were here, Venezia was attacked. And so this just made all the sense in the world to do whatever we could to stand with our sister city in this, really difficult time.
Well, and I think we kind of talked about this a little bit in late February, actually, with Scotty. He came on the show and talked a little bit about the Sister Cities program and
Mhm.
about Birmingham's sister city again in Venezia. And I think so many people were really blown away to learn that. I think there's a lot of people in Birmingham that had no idea that Birmingham had such a close relationship with this city in Ukraine, again called Venezia. Now, this program was finalized, I believe, in 2003. City of Birmingham finalized that relationship with Venezia. And again, Scotty has been a honorary consul there and has been involved with that program since. So when Venezia itself was attacked, again, I believe it was July 14th, according to this information in this
Mhm.
resolution, and there were at least 22 people killed, several of them children. July 14th, again, in the middle of the World Games, when we had people from Ukraine, maybe even some from Venezia themselves,
Mhm.
who were in our city. What was that like to be able to have to look at these athletes and talk to these athletes and know that not only is there a war going on in their country, but also an attack on a city that Birmingham has had a relationship with for almost 20 years?
Well, I was not personally in a position to speak with them, but I know that Scotty and his family were in regular contact with friends from Venezia, and I can't imagine, what those conversations were like. But again, we were happy to really affirm this relationship at such a critical time, and let everyone know about this longstanding relationship with Ukraine and Venezia in particular. Um, Over the years, Birmingham has really invested heavily in the Sister Cities program and our citizens, it's citizen diplomacy. So our employees and our citizens get personally involved in these relationships through various educational, religious, and other types of cultural exchanges. But a lot of time in just really practical ways, they might study our citizens participation program or our healthcare system, our sanitation practices, just whatever it is they want to study. And we have citizens who engage in this exchange, both hosting visitors from that country here and through visits to that country. So I have not personally been involved in this relationship, but I know the value of the program, so I jumped at the chance to assist in bringing this resolution forward. Um, my colleague Daryl O'Quinn was out ill, but he did, we coordinated both on just little edits to the language and also making, and my colleagues on the council and the central staff, making sure that the mayor was comfortable and that our congressional representative concurred with the language and the sentiment we wanted to express. So,
well, and I've got the resolution in front of me, and this is kind of the part of where it is resolved here. This is, again, I'm going to read so I get this language correct. It says that pause its deliberations to celebrate and memorialize Ukraine's participation in the World Games 2022 and affirms the long-standing relationship between our two cities and supports the United States government in increasing military and humanitarian aid to Ukraine. So what does that sentence specifically mean? Is Birmingham saying, look, to the feds, look, let's send more to Ukraine, let's help them in more ways? Or what exactly is that position?
Well, we're basically saying we support the direction we feel that the U.S. is already headed, and we want to, and that's really why we coordinated with our Congresswoman Terry Sewell's office, just to make sure that none of this was out of step. But of course, we want our sister city to be supported. And so we wanted to stand in solidarity with them and support decisions that, at the federal level to continue the support.
And it should be noted again that this was passed unanimously, and again with the support of Mayor Randall Woodfin and with Congresswoman Sewell. Now, you shared with me before we went live that you've actually received a response from the mayor of Venezia. Can you share a little bit about what the mayor thought about this resolution?
Yeah, so it's a brief letter. It's in both languages, and it just says, "Dear colleagues, allow me to thank you for the support and sympathy about the rocket attack of the Russian Federation on Venezia on July 14th. It is an unprovoked terrorist attack on a peaceful city, a military crime against a civilian population that cannot be justified. And we are convinced that punishment for criminals is inevitable. Your support indicates the solidarity with Ukraine in its fierce struggle with the Russian aggressor for European values, independence, and territorial integrity of its own state." And he just ends with, "Together we will win and continue to develop our European cities. And thank you again for your support and cooperation." So it was a pretty swift response to our gesture.
How did that make you feel, getting that response again from the mayor of a city who is in a war-torn country right now and probably has a lot more on their mind than responding to a city across the world for their support? How did that make you feel?
Well, it made me feel good personally. And, it happened since the council meeting. So, and it did go to, we made sure it went to all of the city council and the mayor, and I haven't had a chance to talk to any of them about it. But it certainly felt like, wow, this wasn't just, an idle action in isolation. We really are connected to our sister city and its citizens, across the globe. So it was just evidence of that connection.
Well, and something again that was pretty cool that I don't think a lot of people of Birmingham knew about when Scotty came on, explained that sister cities relationship, is that Venezia has a similar setup to Birmingham, as they have a very large medical school. And it's a similar setup to how UAB is a kind of center of Birmingham. And I think that's interesting because it probably gives a little bit more of a sense between the governing bodies of each city, kind of an idea of what their government looks like. You have a very large employer, a very large school. And again, you have a mayor who is communicating with somebody in a similar situation. Just think that that's a very interesting outlook on something. Again, two places across the world from each other. And you mentioned that swift response. This was on Tuesday, so it's only Thursday, and there's a pretty big time difference. So the mayor got right on that response.
That's right. And it's dated the 19th, so it's like it came the same day.
The mayor said
That's
we
pretty
have got
amazing.
to respond. That is
Yeah.
that's very cool. Counselor, do you have or do you know if the city has anything else planned to do with the sister city Venezia?
Well, I do know that there's a Ukrainian Freedom Festival that the Sister Cities Commission told us all about. It's coming up on Saturday, August 20th from 2 to 4. It'll be at the Independent Presbyterian Church. I happen to have the flyer right above my right on the wall here, so I can just read the wall and tell you about it. But it's going to be a really big event with Scotty as the honorary consul for Ukraine making comments, but also members of the Alabama Symphony Orchestra will participate with a mini concert. And anyway, there's going to be food and it'll be lots of fun. So I think we could continue this good feeling of solidarity with our with Ukraine and our sister city Venezia through the upcoming Ukrainian Freedom Festival at Highland Hall at Independent Presbyterian Church. That's Saturday, August 20th from 2 to 4.
Counselor, thank you so much for explaining this a little bit and kind of sharing an update here. Again, we know this war and this invasion from Russia has been going on since the end of February. And sometimes it's easy for people to get immersed in this 24/7 news cycle and kind of forget sometimes about things that have been going on for a while. So thank you for bringing that back up and reminding Birmingham about its relationships with its sister cities across the world.
Well, thank you for this opportunity to share about it.
Thank you, and I'll make sure to get that information as well about the Ukrainian Freedom Fest. We'll make sure to share that with all of our readers. So everybody watching, thank you so much. We'll make sure we get all that information and put it here in the comments as well, so that if you're interested, you can attend that. Counselor, again, thank you, and everybody watching, we'll see you tomorrow.